3. Commissioner Alford will lead us in the pledge, and I'll say the blessing. If you would, please stand.
Darren.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for all that you do. Lord, we just ask you to be with each and every person here and the families they represent. Take this day, and we honor you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay. Thank everybody for your cooperation on changing the date and the time. I appreciate it. Going to our agenda. Mayor's not here. Adam, you got anything on the mayor's side? All right. And next, we'll do budget amendments. First budget amendment is from the county mayor. Go up here. He's decreasing the fund balance, and remember, we're in Fund 128, which is ARP money, $1,816.20, and he is putting it in 790, in the American Rescue for expenditures. Believe this is an alarm from the annex across the street. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment. Adult Recovery Court, $2,842.62. These are the just a refresher. This is the money that the first $10,000 goes to the ankle bracelet program, and then they split the rest of it 50-50. We've already done the other part for probations. This is the other part for the drug court. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Slater? I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment. Adult recovery. This is moving from her reserve accounts into her expense lines. This is an annual thing. 60,000 is the total, and she itemizes it there into what comes from two different reserve accounts, the total. I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. And you can see that that zeroes out the reserve accounts. Bradley County EMS, this is an insurance recovery check, $5,978.02. It's revenue coming in, increase in revenue, increase in expenses from VFIS. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Alford? I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment. There you see your supporting documentation and the check. All right, this one, this is from the circuit clerk, decreasing the fund balance, $41,790.79, and increasing the expenses. Before we get into discussion, let me get a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Renee, this one I do have some questions on. In the August finance meeting, they moved some money from this same account. Yeah, I have it right here. They moved $84,158.12 from 34520 back in August. And they moved it into 317, 411, and 709 respectively.
Yes, $35,457.21 is the one that they have three reserves. There's three statutes that go with each of them, and they each have to go to an expense line. That expense line, the 317, the reserves for it was the $35,457.21. So out of that 80, that's what they had in that one.
Right. So
they moved all of that reserve money for that expense.
And that's where the question comes. So now they're moving $41,790.79 from the same account, or not, I'm sorry, from undesignated fund balance when they have money in the reserve account. So my question is, why are we moving money out of the fund balance when they have money in the reserve account?
These departments that have reserves do not budget money in the budget because they have to use the reserves first.
Right.
Once they run out of that money, they then come and ask for money from the fund balance to increase their budget. This line, normally they spend about $70,000 out of it.
Right, I have no problem with the amount. What I have a problem with is coming from the fund balance, when they have reserve money.
They've already spent their reserve money.
But, well, that's the issue then. They have 191,000 in this account, so what you're saying is that 191 goes to other lines.
Yes, there's 3 expense lines, there's 3 reserves, there's 3 statutes. So each reserve can only go to one expense
How do
line.
you know that?
Because we have the statutes.
No, not the statutes.
How do I know the reserves?
How do you know that that particular one that goes into 317 is out? There's no way for us to know, because I mean, this is the only reports we get. You have 191,000 in 3450, which is an account. So there must be some sub accounts or something underneath it.
There are, each one of these expense lines, there's a revenue that will go with it. So when I do reserves at the end of the year, I pull the revenues in. If they brought these reserves out and they didn't spend all of them, I put those back in there.
Sure.
So they all tie to this one account. So I tell them how much is in each one for each statute, just like I do everybody else that has a reserve account. This one had $35,000 in it. This is an account they normally spend about $70,000 out of. They've already spent more than their $35,000 that they've put in there. So they're needing money out of fund balance.
Right. And again, my question is how are you keeping track of that?
I have to keep track of it every year for the auditors to look at. So I have a spreadsheet that I do reserves for, that I show what the balance was, what the revenues were, what they spent, what it leaves. That way we know that if they have any money in reserves or if they don't.
So this 191, is it an accurate balance?
It was an accurate balance as of June 30th, yes.
And where can they put that money?
It was divided between 3 expense lines. Is that the budget amendment that they did?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but I would like to know if they got 191,000 and they can't use any of it for 317, which is data processing services, but
Where
they can use it.
Where are you getting the 191,000?
I'm sorry?
Where are you getting the 191,000?
From this report here. This is the account analysis report. It goes over all the accounts that we get monthly. Can you get the store? All right. That's what I'm asking. Is that an accurate number?
Okay, you have to make it back over where the mic is, since I have to talk to the mic. This 34520 is multiple reserve accounts. That is one that has their reserves in it. Not off the top of my head can I tell you whose, but that one is not just their reserve money. That's other departments' reserve money.
And okay. So that 191, how do you have a spreadsheet that tells you that 50,000, I'm just using easy number, 50,000 goes to
the county
to
clerk.
411 perhaps,
Yeah.
or 709.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole idea here is not to use fund balance at all costs.
That's true. So that's why all these, when I get ready to close the year, I email all the departments, here's your reserve accounts. Now, that 34520, that could be county clerks, that could be register of deeds. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's a large amount of money. You have sheriff's departments, you've got theirs, but we divide it out by, we know what reserve account number it goes into, and then I do it by their revenue and expenses as to what they've got to go into the reserves.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's kind of where I thought it would be. What I would like is a breakdown of that 191 because who else did you say? Registries, multiple.
It's multiple departments.
Do they, I mean, there's 191,000 that we can put into the budget somewhere if needed.
And we do. All of them bring this in here in September, and they draw all the reserve money out. We don't allow them to budget money into
I get
for
that.
that reason.
Right, I got the budget here. They zeroed these 3 lines. They moved money in August, moving a little bit more because their expenses. Right, but this 191,000, can we get a breakdown of where that 191 can go?
The center, what, you're looking at the August. Yeah, we can do that.
All right, thank you. So the reason why this is important to me is because this is a moving out of the fund balance. This is our piggy bank, and we had a tough budget year, as you know, because of ratio study. We dipped into the fund balance, so this year you can count on us asking, and then Renee, with the utmost respect, right? We just do not want to tip into fund balance unless we absolutely have to. We have to because they've got bills to pay. They changed the law up in Nashville for whatever reason. I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble for that. But, you know, that's the way it is. Last year, there was about 70,000 that we moved over here. They had some money in there. That's what they moved in August. This is the remainder of it based on her estimate.
And in the defense here, since I've been in this position, last year and this year are the first times that we've had to ask for money out of fund balance to cover these reserves. Their reserves this year looked better than they did last year. That's the reason they're asking for a smaller amount. You hope that come as the year rolls on, they'll get more money in here. But if the state requirements on how they collect that revenue changes that makes it harder for them.
Understand. So I wish the state would allow the elected officials a little more discretion on how they, I mean, data processing supplies and data processing equipment. I can call supply and equipment and data processing world two different things. I mean, a mouse on a computer can be a supply or equipment.
I can have Crystal look again at the statute and see if there's any leeway where we can use it. But right at the moment, I have to go by what she had said that we could use it.
Sure, it's your call. I get it, and I appreciate that. It's just moving money out of fund balance is going to be something we really look at this year because we dipped into it quite a bit. All right, so Dale, you guys, that do you understand the explanation is that there's sub-chapter, I wouldn't call it sub-chapters, sub-accounts, or that one account that we looked at has multiple uses, we'll call it that. So we'll move the money out of the fund balance so that you have the expenses you need to operate this year. How do they keep up with the money going into this account since you got it coming in from so many different? I mean, if they wanted to keep track of how much they give you to put into this account, so they
deposit every month when they close out their month into the revenue. And Carly, do you know which revenue goes with this one? Or do I need to let you know that? Okay. Okay. Yeah, they have 3 revenue accounts that go with each of these expense lines. So that money collects for the year, and then I book it at the end of the year in reserve so they can use it the following year. So I can tell her which revenue account goes with that one, and they just have to watch the expenses to see how much it's going to lower it.
Right. Very good. I hope that's clear as mud. All right. Dale, you guys have any questions back there on this? Good. All right. Do we have a motion to accept the amendment? We already have a motion in a second. Any further discussions? I think I wore that one out. All those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. Thank you, Dale. All right. Moving on to the next budget amendment. The health department, $13,500. She's moving money also from the fund balance, but this is a typo. So she meant to put 15,000 in there, or I'm sorry, she put 1,500. So I went back and checked.
Yep.
That's what she's normally been getting. So this is just a typo. We would have done this in the budget process. Happens. I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented. I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. I believe the rest of them are services rendered.
All of them are service charges.
So we'll take those up as a package from page 10 all the way down to, looks like page 21, where you had the check from Jacob Stent. Do I have a motion to accept the packages presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. All right, thank you guys. That gets us through the budget amendments. Then we'll go into the agenda. First item A, Workhouse ankle bracelets. I just received a call from Director Rich Kinlan that he needed to postpone that. They're still chatting about the employer paying part of that or something like that. So he wants to meet with the sheriff one more time and then come before the finance committee on that. But basically, in a nutshell, the new law requires workhouse inmates to wear ankle bracelets when they go on the job site or something like that. It's a new law that goes into effect in January. Next one is item B, commission room monitor. Commissioner Alford, I believe that's yours. You are recognized.
Yes. We look at a lot on that TV screen, you know, we do a lot of things on that TV screen over there. And I've noticed that when we're doing something on that TV screen, people sitting over here can't see it. And the same way with, y'all probably have trouble seeing it, that corner. My suggestion is why don't we get another one of those, put on this wall? That way people can see it either way. That's my suggestion. I don't know how much one would cost. I don't know how much that one cost. Anybody know? I'd like to put that in the form of motion in it. We purchase another TV screen like that one, set it up and put it over on this wall.
We have a motion to add an additional monitor to the commission room. A motion from Commissioner Alford. Have a second from Commissioner Slater. Where are you gonna pay for it from? Of course. We'll pay
That's
for
what
it.
the mayor says every time.
Lori, will you find out, I guess, where we got this? It's been years since we bought this one. I think we went and got this one. You and I did, right? Yeah. Adam, your IT people will have to hook it up to the network, right? So the trick here is going to be obviously one keyboard, one mouse displaying on both monitors. It can be done, and they should be able to figure it out. Is that something you're willing to take on?
I can get a quote for that, yes.
Appreciate it.
I would recommend maybe upgrading the computer, which is on the
Yeah,
back of that one.
you can take that Apple Mac Mini
So would you like a quote
and
on,
put it in
on
the
that as
Tennessee
well?
River.
Would you like a quote on that as well, or just the
Please,
installation?
yeah, all the things that make it necessary to have it.
Okay.
And you can replace that Mac Mini. Be a great time. Yeah.
We got a stack of blank checks for that account.
It's already been budgeted. It's already been budgeted. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. This will have to go to the full commission. Lori, we'll have to put this on the agenda for the full commission, right? Yep. Yep. That'd be great. Yeah, that way we know what we're talking about. But okay, that concludes item B. That takes us to item C, HCI, investment calendar cycle and HCI committee membership. I'm gonna speak to the HCI committee membership. I talked to the mayor yesterday. There is a requirement that his appointments, or that he has at least two, correct me if I'm wrong, Lori, that they have medical background, I think is the way it's phrased. He would like for us to omit, dissolve, whatever that requirement, so he can pick. Getting medical people to serve on HCI isn't the easiest thing in the world. We have somebody who fits that qualification, but they haven't been here in 3 years. They've missed 3 years worth of meetings. So we need to basically drop that requirement. Have a motion from Commissioner Slater to, oh, I'm sorry, we'll get your motion and get a second. Motion from Commissioner Slater and a second from Commissioner Alford. Commissioner Slater, you're recognized. That's what we're saying. this is what allows the mayor to do, because if he was, yes, correct. So this allows him to pick somebody without the medical background, requirement. And it opens up the pool of people he can pick from. Please.
Appointments or just one?
He wanted both of them.
Okay. So the motion is to remove that requirement from both of the mayor's appointments?
Yeah, and my thinking on this, members, is we have currently, Director Scott Oliver, who obviously has some, not a doctor, but he has, and we have Paul McCord, Dr. McCord. We've got it covered.
The requirement was that the mayor's appointments must have medical experience. Now, I believe it was part of the final decree from the chancellor, and then the commission passed a resolution. I'll have to go back and confirm that, but I believe that's
Well, we could contingent that it's not part of the decree, but I don't,
right.
I read that decree long time ago. I don't remember seeing that. 'Cause when it came to my attention, the lawyer brought it to me, I was like, what was their motivation on this? I mean, this was back to Commissioner Stansberry's days.
2008 or 9. It's been a while.
Um,
I'll confirm that. I know there's a resolution requiring it, but
yeah, definitely a
I
resolution,
hate
but
to
I don't
say
know about
that
the
it's
decree.
not in the final decree.
So, Lori, if you would,
Okay,
in the investment calendar cycle, all right,
you'll have to vote that.
I was
You have
just
a
checking to
mo-
make sure you're listening. And
Okay.
you did. Any further discussion? Commissioner Alford, please. No.
No, they are voters. So the membership of the HCI committee is established where there is one appointment per district. So the county commission appoints 7 members, one from each district. It just so happens that at this point in time, we have we have one that has medical experience, and that's Dr. McCord. And the mayor also has 2 positions, and currently those have to have medical background. Scott Oliver is currently serving for the mayor, and he does have medical experience. And the other one also has medical experience, but we've not heard from him in a few years.
Since they're voting members of the committee, though, I think it would be pertinent that we get those people on the committee, or new people on the committee, as soon as possible, because they're getting ready to get into some serious business. That would be my suggestion.
I agree. I mean, they've had 2 meetings already, right? We're
We
getting ready to have,
one we didn't have a quorum.
right, so
we
they'll be coming in, but Scott Oliver is one of his appointments, he attends regularly. He's a good attender, all right?
Mhm.
But I agree with you. All right, did we vote yet?
No.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 5-0. We'll send this to the full commission. Renee, the conversation about the investment cycle, you and I chatted about it. I chatted with Trustee Mike Smith, and we talked a little bit about it at the last finance committee. You are calendar based, right? No, you're budget based on we're talking about the HCI investment, and we would like to sync up with the trustee's office.
At the moment, when I send the investment totals to Lori, they're calendar-based. That was changed several years ago. Different commission. They wanted it to be calendar-based. At the time, it was fiscal year-based, so that it kind of ran with Mike's.
Right,
Yeah,
so we want to
because-
sync up with Mike, and that would be easier on you, I believe. And, well, it comes out, but at least the two are together.
It would be easier for you to look at the numbers that he gives you and then the numbers I give you to see the difference. Right now, like the numbers that I gave Lori for what they can do, that is 2022's investments, because I do January to December.
And that's what kind of threw us off,
Yeah,
thinking, so what do we need to do to get the two systems, I'll call it that, in sync with each other?
does HCI need to have any, I mean, do they need to say anything on it?
They
I
just
don't
want,
think that they did.
just want
I
the money.
think it was just a commission voted to change it from
So-
fiscal year to calendar year.
Okay, so let's do that. It'll take a year to cycle through to get you back in sync with them, but you guys understand what we're doing? Basically moving from a calendar year from the director of finance office to fiscal year like the trustees doing, starting next year when it rolls back around.
Okay.
Because we're already through this year. I mean, your calendar base, you're almost done with this year, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's true.
you'll sync up with him in the next year. Yeah, I need a motion here in a second, but did a whole lot of discussion before I got a motion in a second. I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes 5-0. This will get us in sync. The last one is the ARP water applications. Lori informed me yesterday that we actually had an application come in Saturday. Our deadline was actually Saturday, even though I'm sure you guys were working. I wasn't. So she is getting the details on that, the estimate. So I made the decision that we just roll this into the October 17th when we take up the opioid money and take that all together. That way we'll have a total amount of how much is being requested at one time. So basically we're rolling item D to the October 17th. If you'll put that on the agenda for me, Lori, I appreciate it. All right. That concludes the agenda, other business, and well, not unless Susan has community audience. Susan, you're my only communication from the audience. Seeing none,